Hello, welcome to the Rustic Skillet. My name is Virginia. Oh, thank you, Mr. Rooster. My roosters and chickens are making a lot of noise today. The roosters just messed me up. Now, I've got some naughty roosters. So, please forgive me. I don't know how many rude interruptions the chickens and the roosters have caused me. But, here we have it. This is the rustic kitchen. See, I'm all messed up. This is the rustic kitchen. My name is Virginia, and fall is definitely in the air. And here we always discuss cooking out of rustic, cast iron, antique skillets. Yes, this one isn't. You know, it's been used. Who cares? And yes, it's got a little bit of lint on it. I've got to dust that out. When you live in the country, you're going to have some dust. Yes, you are. But this is a Griswold. And this time of year, pumpkins. Pumpkins are everywhere. You hear about them during Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and even before Halloween. Some people get tired of regular old pumpkins. Well, we're going to do a different kind of pumpkin. The first pumpkin pie the Pilgrims made. Some of you may be tired of pumpkins, but this one is going to be good, and this one's going to be different. So here we go. But before we get started on making the pumpkins, we got to heat up this beautiful antique. Yes, it's kind of rough around the edges. It's got some spots that's naturally on it, but it's my antique wood cook stove. Or some people would say, not necessarily antique, but it's vintage because it's not 100 years old yet. But it has lasted quite a long time. So let's just get this thing started and warmed up. First, we got to go get some wood. That wood was a little bit green. We're not going to use that wood. We're going to use this wood right here. And I've got some more stored in the back. That's already been cut and cured. First things first, I'm going to open it. And yes, there was ashes from the previous fire we just burned. That should start a nice fire. I'm going to put a little bit of wood shavings in there. That'll help start it. There's another piece of wood on top. I can get it to fit. There we go. And your hands always turn black. I mean, they make some of these cooking shows, especially vintage cooking shows. There, now you can see it, sorry. They make it look so clean. There we go. And look at that. Your hands always will turn black. I don't care what they say. So now I gotta definitely wash my hands. But before I do wash my hands, I'm gonna get this nice and started. Better get my phone off the stove here. It's gonna get too hot and it's gonna burn up. And there's my chickens again. I think someone just laid an egg. We're gonna get this top back on, and we're gonna wait for that to warm up. We're gonna put the top back on. We're gonna get that nice and warmed up. In the meantime, we're gonna check on the chickens and their eggs. And of course, I've got to wash my hands first too and clean up this mess off the stove. But yeah, first wash my hands. No, really, first, I can't talk. But first, I've got to clean this mess up, wash my hands, and then go check on the chickens and then wash my hands again. And with all of these old wood cook stoves, I don't care. They all smoke a little bit. I don't know if you can see the smoke that's coming up, but this one does just a little bit. So I do have the windows up. There's the smoke. I do have the windows open and a door open. And then after it gets warmed up, it won't smoke anymore. This one just has always done that. But oh well, gives me time to get some other stuff done while the fire gets going. That's why back in the time, some people would keep the fires going all the time, because otherwise it would smoke really bad. Before I can even get started washing my hands, getting the black off my hands, and going to check on the chickens, well, Miss Shirley, the hen, she's a rescue chicken from one of those battery cages, and one of those ones that they lay tons of eggs and then they just set them out and they trim their beak too much. She decided to come in. I don't know, none of the other chickens are like that. She's definitely spoiled. But Shirley, you need to go back outside. Hot. Now it's time to get the pumpkin ready. Let's check the fire too. Oh yeah, it needs some more. Well, I have this really old White House cookbook. It is copyrighted. It was originally wrote in 1887. Ignore my shaky hands there. And then again in 1894, and then 1899. I don't know what year this one is. It's definitely the revised edition. And it is antique, but they have a recipe in here about, pumpkin or squash pies and pumpkin pie and everything. But this wasn't the first pumpkin pie that ever came out, unfortunately. But what I might do with the recipe that I'm going to use, I might make it into a pie, actually, with the crust, because the very first pumpkin pie, they could not, they didn't have access to flour like they do now, and back when this book was written. So I'll mark that book, or that place in the book. But I found this one here. I bought this one online with some friends on Whatnot. It's called the Old-Fashioned Pumpkin Pie Recipe and Halloween Treats, Bear Wallow Books. And this is copyrighted 1979. And it says here, let me get this bit down here, that the first pumpkin pie wasn't a pie at all. It was a whole pumpkin with the top sliced off and the seeds scooped out, then filled with milk, spices, honey, and baked in hot ashes. Pumpkins are old-fashioned delicacy going back in American history before landing in the pyramids. The North American Indians sliced pumpkins into pieces and roasted them over the open fire. Early American housewives learned to split pumpkins, remove the seeds, put in halves back together, and roast the whole pumpkin in their hearth ovens. New Englanders boiled their pumpkins, cut them in chunks, and ate them salted and buttered. Or they mashed the pulp and made soup. Down in the southern colonies, they began kneading the pumpkin pulp into bread dough, and it wasn't long before pumpkins, puddings, pies were being created. Generations of imaginative Americans cooks have improved upon this early pumpkin recipes, and we have included more than 70 of most famous pumpkin recipes in this collection. So this book here is really good. And I have researched the first pumpkin pie online, and they are correct about this. And they didn't have crust or anything, so they just cut the top off the pumpkin. This one does have a little boo-boo, but it's still good. It's not a bad pumpkin at all. I got a better looking one. hot, but very, very good. Very, very good for you. Let me see how that looks. Oh my goodness. Wow. Got to put my phone down for a second so you can see how good this is, or I'm gonna burn myself. Oh my. May look burnt on the top, but I don't think that's burnt. That's total yumminess. And look at that. The stuff came out on the inside. Oh my, I cannot wait to taste it. After hours and hours and hours. Wow. I think I'm going to definitely let it cool overnight and then make a pie into it tomorrow.